the highway of life without a safety net, to follow something even bigger than my pride, to show up with courage even when I'm trembling inside. And I will not worry about what others think of me, and I will not be shackled by the chains of conformity. I'll break the mold that in the past keep pushing till I'm free at last. I'll follow the path of my heart and make my life a work of art. Call me fearless. I am I follow the road to adventure everywhere. I let the top down and let the wind tangle up my hair. Hitch my dreams onto the brightest star. On the trapeze of life, I just throw my heart right over the bar. On the other side of fear, there lies euphoria, and a better understanding of who you really are. I'll break the mold set in the past, keep pushing till I'm free at last. I'll follow the path of my heart and make my life a work of art. Call me fearless. I am I'll push outside the comfort zone, remembering I'm not alone. I'll follow the path of my heart and make my life a work of art. Call me fearless. I am I'm stronger than I realize, yeah. I am fearless. I'm fearless.
Good morning and welcome to Unity of Northeast Pennsylvania, a positive path to spiritual living. My name is Richard Pacheco, and as always, we welcome you here to our Sunday gathering online. As today we focus not only on the month on the power of strength, but today we talk about the specialized power and engaging and how it works in our lives of the power of strength. So everything today will be focused on strength. Our meditation today is actually a combination of all three practices in the book we're using. So you will have a meditation on strength, you will have affirmations of strength, and we will also have a prayer on strength, all in our meditation time, so that we can get ready for the lesson and all of that. So busy month, very busy month. I mean, again, today is St. Valentine's Day, and we are celebrating Black History Month. We are also in the midst of the season of nonviolence. This Wednesday will be Ash Wednesday, in the beginning of the Lent season. Of course, Lent standing for Let's Eliminate Negative Thoughts in the New Thought movement. So there's a lot going on for it being the shortest month, but it's so many great practices that we can really get a hold of. So you definitely want to get a hold of whichever one of these you want to work on and truly be a part and participate in the practices of any of these. I mean, again, Wednesday, and I'll talk about more about that during our announcement period. We will start our daily talks on Lent, and let's eliminate negative thoughts as we work together to work on releasing during this Lent season. So with that, I'm going to start off today with our daily word in celebration of St. Valentine's Day. And the word for today is heart expression. And our affirmation is, you are dear to me, I hold you in my heart. Sharing love is a wonderful way of discovering and responding to the divinity alive in every heart, binding us as a human family. My loving nature helps me see the best in every person whose life touches mine. Today I remember one of the legends of Saint Valentine, in which he fashioned pieces of parchment into hearts, which he gave to others as a token of his compassion and God's love. Today the tradition continues when I say, you are dear to me, I hold you in my heart, with a card, gift, call, or a simple act of kindness. I share with love with no expectations or of I share love with no expectations of reciprocation, and my heart welcomes every expression of love from others. Love energy grows through both giving and receiving. From John 13:34, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. So again, our daily word focused on St. Valentine's Day for today. And as I said, we'll be working on the power of strength throughout this service. So we'll go to our next song, come back with our announcements, and then we will follow it with meditation and lesson. See you there.
Where I'm going, I've been asking all my life. I've grown tired of all this wondering, when everything seems to turn out right. So when my mind needs something to do, wants to know the future, I whisper this: I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. So here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance, I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it it's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. Some say crazy, some say naive, to close my eyes and take the lead. But I know better, 'cause I believe even in the dark my soul can see. So when my mind plays its usual game, oh, my answer is always the same. Here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance, I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. Here goes nothing, I'm taking a chance, I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything, it's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time, 'cause I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way.
Welcome back, and again, welcome to our Sunday gathering here at Unity of Northeast Pennsylvania, a positive path for spiritual living. And my name is Richard Pacheco. And let us go ahead and work through a few of our announcements here. Again, this Tuesday is our small group experience, Living an Abundant Life. It's Tuesday at 7 p.m. Zoom link is available on our Facebook page in our events area, as well as our weekly email blast will have the link in it. We have 2 weeks left until we're done. And again, join in if you wish, even though it's the last 2 weeks. I do apologize. Someone did join late last week, but we didn't have many in attendance. So we had my wife and I were the only ones on the class. So we had kind of closed it off, and, we did our thing offline at that point. If you're going to be late and you want to join us, just shoot me a quick email or a message on Facebook, and I'll hang out a little bit longer. But again, it's the last 2 weeks, and we will see where we head for the next class afterwards, or if we're doing something a little more focused on one of our other teachings. But again, Tuesday, 7 p.m. If you can be there, join us. Next week we have Understanding, the Power of Understanding, Know Beyond What You See. So again, specialized training, even though we will be focusing still on the month of strength. Our talk next week will be the specialized teachings of the power of understanding. And as I said, this Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, and we will begin our practice using the book Release and Renew. If you go to unity.org, You can get a download of this book. Maybe I will include it with our letter this week, the PDF. Or if you want the physical book, you can always go to unity.org and order the book there. But because we're starting Wednesday, I would advise that if you do want the physical book, get the physical book, but also get the PDF just to start off if you want to read along. And again, you can just listen in on Wednesday. And as always, we give you a chance to celebrate the laws of giving and receiving. And you can help our ministry by giving at unityofnepa.org using the contribute button, which is secured. And if you're using the, if you're using a cell phone to make a contribution, go ahead and turn it lengthwise. The button will appear. If you're on our YouTube channel, up on the banner on our main page, there's a small P. That's our PayPal link, which will allow you to use a credit card or a debit card, or if you have a PayPal account, to go ahead and donate. And as always, you can mail it in to us here at the Wilkes-Barre office, and our office staff will be more than glad to take care of that for you. As always, other ways to give: Amazon Smile, choose us as your nonprofit. Amazon has found a way to actually lock in Amazon Smile, so anytime you go to Amazon, you will automatically be logged in and locked into your nonprofit that you choose. And of course, we hope that you choose us. Did some Valentine's Day shopping, and again, it's a beautiful thing to see. This purchase qualifies as a donation for Unity of Northeast Pennsylvania. So whichever way you give, we are always grateful, and we use that to further our ministry. So with that, let's go ahead and move into our affirming our church. So what is the vision we hold? In oneness, we co-create a world inspired by the practice of love, peace, and harmony for all. What is ours to do? To serve our community through affirmative prayer, teachings, and service. And as always, what do we believe? That there is one power and one presence active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. As always, we will go ahead and go into our next song, and we will return with meditation. And again, if you're a visual person, I did create a video of the strength of water and the flow of the ocean, peaceful as well as powerful. If otherwise, close your eyes and just let's go through the meditation of strength together. We'll have another song, come back with our lesson, and then finally we will close out our service at that point. So take notes if you have it. Get your notebook, get whatever you need, and let's prepare to learn together. Okay? I will see you on the other side.
I stand alone. I close my eyes and wait against the wind, steady and strong. I am unmoved, for I am not afraid. I stand and wait, for I know how to wait. I'm holding on, for when my moment comes, when my moment comes, like the phoenix I'll rise. When it comes, beneath this veil of who I seem to be, truth is the staff I lean upon. I've come to claim what has been promised me, and give my heart that was a broken heart For when my moment comes, when my moment comes, like the phoenix I'll arise when it comes, like a seal upon my heart, my sacred destiny, a brand new start. For when my moment comes, when my moment comes, like the phoenix I'll arise when it comes, like the phoenix I'll arise when it comes.
Let us enter into a time of meditation as we focus our attention to the power of strength within us. Let us begin by breathing in 3 cleansing breaths. As we breathe in, pause, and as we release, let us release all the worry of yesterday, as it is no longer living, and the only life is in our minds. Let us take a second cleansing breath and just breathe in and pause. And as we breathe out, let's release the anxiety of tomorrow, as it has no life, as it hasn't happened as of yet. And we know that it's only happening in our minds, so we let it go. And on this third breath, let's breathe in, and we pause, and we release as we sink deeper into our chair, centering ourselves in this moment, this only moment that counts, as this is the moment of creativity, the moment that we co-create into this world. And if you haven't done so, let's gently close our eyes, or if you wish to, just a soft gaze downward. And let's begin breathing deeply, and let's breathe deep into the base of our spine. And as we draw the breath down into our backbone, in our mind's eye, let's see the light green light of divine strength illuminate the small of your back and begin to pulse up and down your spine. And we continue to breathe the shimmering pale green light of divine strength throughout your body. See the pulsating, spiraling green fill your whole being with life-giving spiritual strength. As we continue to breathe, we see the sparkling green light of strength throughout our being. We notice that our minds are clearing, and your deepest desires are coming into focus. Your noblest and most exciting intentions become clearer. Your next right steps are revealed. Right action becomes irresistible. You feel an expanding sense of hope's effervescence just going through your body and through your mind. You know what to do, and you know you have the power to do it. So let's enter into the silence as we see ourselves living in the answers to our prayers. As we come back to this time and this place, let us enter into a time of prayer as we focus our words into the spirit of strength. And we speak the words, "Spirit of strength, I open myself and my whole life to your power. Give thanks to your strength now, which builds me into the person you want me to be. Strengthened by your power in me, obstacles become opportunities, and I take action that overcomes them. I am grateful for the new clarity and firm purpose. I go forward confidently. I affirm over myself the strength of God in me gives me all the power I need to lead the life I dream of." I affirm over myself that I act on the truth I know, the values I hold dear, and the desires of my heart. And I also affirm the more I exercise my faith in the divine presence in me, the stronger I become to do even greater things. And as we bring this to an end, we say thank you. We are so grateful. And so it is, and so we let it be. And we affirm it with an amen.
I was a little girl who never spoke her mind. I wouldn't rock the boat, I couldn't cross the line. But every step that I've taken, every pain, every tear has led me to the woman who's standing right here. I got so tired of giving myself away, always looking for someone to tell me I was okay. But I got to the place where I could trust my heart. It was the perfect place for a brand new start. And here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand. stand.
I stand.
Here I stand. I am a warrior. I am
Invincible,
I am
strong as steel.
and I am capable, and I am soft as a feather,
Light and free,
and the truth that I know,
healing begins with me. So here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power.
here I stand.
Here I stand.
Here I stand. Here I stand. Here I stand. Here I stand. And with all that I've been through, there ain't nothing I can't do. And
Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power. Here I stand in my power.
Here I stand.
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 Oh, here I stand.
Here I stand.
Here I stand.
Here I stand.
And with all that I've been through, there ain't nothing I can't do. Here I stand. I stand.
Good morning once again, and thank you for being here with us as always. Remember to like, share, and comment here. Just let us know, if you hear something, and share anything you hear. If there's something we said, let it go out there and help someone. If you visit my Facebook page, you're always seeing quotes and positive videos. And again, as I tell people, even here in ministry, when we develop a lesson, we're really developing these lessons for ourselves, because it's when we build ourselves that we in turn help build others, because we are taught by example. So today we are working on the power of strength. And what I would like to do is actually read, when we talk about strength, we know it's one of the faculties of the 12 powers. And we know that the 12 powers are the 12 innate powers within us, each one of them bringing us that much closer to that Christ consciousness. When we do the meditation, we know that for us, the Christ consciousness is the crown of the head, which again, just as the energy center that we receive during Reiki, the crown chakra, they all represent that energy place of entry. And we are developing each one as we go through these lessons. And again, we are focusing on them monthly, as this month is the month of strength, as well as we go through the book, we're doing a weekly overview. So what does that mean? So that means that as we go through this, we're hoping that you're taking notes, that you have a journal with you. I always keep mine on hand everywhere I go. Jim Rohn used to always say, you always have two books with you, the one you're reading and the one you're writing. One of my podcasts, and I am trying to get back to it, I interviewed a young lady, Jessica Janier, and I asked her, I said, well, you know what? I have people in my life where I was like, Rich, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. Back of my head is like, why do I need to write a book? And I asked her, and she said the same thing. She goes, what I did was I went back through all my journals, and I was able to grab highlights of my life to write that book. So remember that the journal is not just to take notes here, but to also write in their feelings. Maybe there's something I say today, or any of our speakers say, that touches you in a certain way that you want to write that feeling down. So be that as it may, have your napkin, have your notebook ready. Always try to copy notes, because as we go through these 12 powers, we have so many different books on it, but each book has a different perspective, and it helps you grow in the unity principles and the unity practices. So as I said, we're talking about strength today. So what exactly is strength? So to answer that question, I actually want to read an article from a book called Your God-Given Potential, and it's written by Winifred Wilkinson Hausman. And she talks about the power of strength. And strength is not simply a physical quality as with the 12 powers. It expresses itself on 3 levels, each one complementing the other in its life experience on the earth plane. In the physical realm, strength is vitality, endurance, the ability to persist. In the mental area of expression, strength is that quality of mind which enables one to lead, to accomplish, to follow through on decisions, to establish purposes in life, and to hold firm to spiritual principles in daily living. It expresses itself as a stability of character. The highest expression, and the one that should determine the direction of strength in the other realms, is the spiritual realization of this quality. Here, strength is closely allied with faith in the symbology of the 12 disciples and the 12 qualities of mind that we develop as Jesus encouraged and developed his closest followers. Strength and faith are both represented by the brothers Andrew and Peter. Building a foundation. So Peter must be the first of our qualities to be unfolded in a spiritual way, because without faith there is no impetus to action and no foundation for a program of spiritual growth. Faith also is our innate ability to see the unseen, plus the desire to persist in order to bring it forth. But faith has to be established in strength. The two brothers must grow together, but under the loving direction of our own Christ nature, that perfect human idea within ourselves. Strength is a quality that we can and must develop if we are to bring forth our God-given potential. It is brought forth along with the other 11 powers, but it must be basic in our growth. As you begin your development on this faculty represented by Andrew, declare quality to yourself through the will and the work of spirit within. My God-given potential of strength is developed and expressed easily and in divine order. Remember that strength is to be developed easily, not with tension and strain, but with relaxed, trusting attitude. With all the power, strength is consciously awakened first in the intellectual nature, then developed through prayerful concentration of the idea to be a spiritual realization of oneness with the source of all strength. Big mouthful, but I wanted you to hear that, because again, one of the things I did mention when I did an intro to the 12 powers is that powers start to combine with each other. And as Jesus goes out and looks for his apostles, the stories of the apostles as he brings them together, his top 3, so forth and so on, is almost, it's actually the metaphysical of how the 12 powers work with each other in a way. Charles Fillmore says, strength is freedom from weakness, stability of character, power of to withstand temptation. It is the force or the power to do, capacity to accomplish. And that comes from his book, Keep a True Lent. You know, I thought it was a great add-in with the fact that we're starting Lent this week. So when we talk about strength, it is that power to endure. And just like faith, you know, take the religiosity out of it. You know, we hear it all the time. You know, in some traditional religions, we do hear, you know, God give me strength. We hear things like that. But when we hear other people talk and they're not talking from a religious or a spiritual background, they talk about the strength it took to get through things. So strength plays a part in everything, not just in our 12 powers, but through our life as we go through life. As we go through this human experience, as they say, we meet challenges, we meet things that we're trying to get through. We try to make ourselves work. Thomas Paine, I love this quote: "I love the man that can smile in trouble, that can gather strength from distress, and grow brave by reflection." We go through life unknowingly. We call it the flow of life. And we a lot of times try to force things rather than go with the flow. Now, again, I will stress this because I do have this conversation constantly. We go with the flow, but there is still work to be done. Strength is that ability to know. Faith joined with strength allows us to know that there is something out there. We have a faith, a belief in that the better person that we are trying to attain is there. And the strength allows us to persist, to go through whenever we have that period of challenge that says, no, we don't need to go through, or we have our ego coming in trying to keep us comfortable. The author has it best here where she says, "Strength is the power that can trump fear and empower you to take right action in the face of fear, loss, anger, rejection, disappointment, delay, and disapproval. It partners with faith to sustain us in our odyssey to discover and live from the kingdom of heaven within us. It grows with our intentional spiritual development. It rises from noble values and ideas and passions from what is possible. It is a spiritual muscle and more. It is our spiritual backbone." And we've heard that growing up, especially me coming in martial arts, or just in general, where we may be watching old television and it's like, hey, where's your backbone? That we look at the backbone as our spine, and the spine, do you have a spine? So they're all cliches that are out there telling you, are you courageous? Can you move forward? We want to bring that into our lives. When I look at strength, it is the power and faith and power of both through this whole ministerial journey. March is about next month, and I'll be taking my last licensing and ordination and moving toward full ordination. This has been a long trip. I had a meeting with the new CEO, and we were talking, and one of the questions he asked is, when did you start your journey? And I went back into my notes, and the very first class that I completed was in 2012. Here we are in 2021. So almost 9 years I've been on this journey to become a minister. And at the beginning, it was confusing. I didn't know where I was going. I was reading websites and trying to figure out, how do I do this while still working, while having a family to take care of. And I just kept persevering, kept moving forward. I met Reverend Ogun Holder when he came to Unity to speak, and we sat down. And he helped me by allowing me to join a lot of his classes through Zoom and through Skype. But he also pointed me to the Urban Ministerial School. And even there, I had some challenges. But in faith, I kept moving forward, and people came out to help. We talked about that last week when I talked about the story of faith, of strength, where the son was trying to push the lawnmower or whatever it was he was pushing. I don't remember right offhand. And the father asked him, did he use all his strength? His son said, yes. He goes, no, you didn't, because you never asked me to help you. So I can tell you that for someone like myself who constantly wants to do it on his own because it's easier than asking and being turned down. And this is where, if we ever get a chance to read the book, Power Up, in the book, it talks about how every power can be taken from a point of underdevelopment and overdeveloped. And underdeveloped strength is saying I have strength but not being able to do things. There is a exercise that we'll talk about at the end of this, where one of the things to do this week is to have that conversation. And trust me when I tell you, there are a lot of conversations I need to have, and I'm scared to have them. Maybe because they'll make what I think is happening or what I see happening more real. So we need to engage in that strength to overcome fear, to overcome those challenges. The greatest example of that in our own teachings is our master teacher, Jesus. When we look at the story of Jesus, we see what he went through. And I think it's a perfect example. So if you are taking notes, I want you to write this down, because I want you to keep this in mind as you watch movies, as you read your Bibles, as you read stories. I just signed up for Discovery Plus, and it's the worst thing I could have done. No, I'm just joking. I love it to death because it has every type of show I want to see, from the paranormal to the conspiracies to the investigations into historical Bible and historical Jesus, and to everything else out there. So, and I said I was going to limit television. Well, I'll keep it on my off hours. But the point is, you want to keep this in your notes. So the 4 teaching styles of Jesus, first of all, we know were parables, stories. The prodigal son, perfect example of that. The Good Samaritan. Jesus felt that the way he could teach to people who were not in tune to hear it directly. So think about me coming into your home, brand new, never been to Unity, and trying to teach you the 12 powers from the Charles Fillmore book, where it's direct and full of metaphysics and all that. You'd look at me like I'm crazy and ask me to go out the other door, So he taught in stories and parables. The second way he taught, of course, is through sayings or proverbs. Things like, when working charity, you don't let your right hand know what the left hand is doing. Then demonstration, also known as miracles. He performed his miracles, the feeding of the 5,000, which I shared with you last week as I ended my third semester of advanced metaphysics, was almost a step-by-step on working your prosperity. It blew me away. But it is through demonstration and miracles that Jesus made a name for himself and people saw what was possible. But the most important one is by example. Who he was, how he acted. So if we go into the biblical stories, we look at a man who started his ministry and was doubted, was shouted at, was cursed, was almost stoned to death originally. He was challenged and tempted in every way. We know the temptation in the desert, but we also know that a lot of the Pharisees and all that came through and started challenging him to see if they can trip him up. And of course, at the end, he's crucified. So here's a man that could have at any point said, I'm done. I'm out of here. Let's go hang. But he didn't. He kept moving through this life and his experience and his mission to minister. What are you called to do? That you are being taunted. You're being told that you're not good enough. You're being told that what you're saying makes no sense. And are you giving up on it? Or are you moving through strength and faith, knowing that people will hear you? That's another big thing that I can share with you is, every time I do a talk, my goal, of course, is to inspire you, not to motivate you. We say motivational speakers are people who get you excited that one day and the next day you wake up and you forgot why you were excited. Or an inspirational speaker can start that spiritual alchemy by saying something inside of you. I remember when I was going through this, someone once came to me and I was talking about how I can see the challenges I was going through the stories of Jesus. And they're like, oh, you think you're Jesus now? And of course, back then it was, oh no, that's blasphemy. I can't do that. Now I say, yeah, I am just like my brother Jesus. I am the Christ. I am working in the Christ consciousness to become the best Christ I can be, not only for me, but for you as well. Helen Keller said, faith is the strength by which a shattered world shall emerge into the light. So adding faith to strength moves us forward. Spiritual strength informs all of our other spiritual capacities. It bridges faith to action. It musters compassion for our own and other human shortcomings and difficulties. At the same time, we are empowered to rise above any difficulty or personal upset to do the most loving, effective thing. It is the power to tell the truth when it may cost us, the power to acknowledge a mistake or fault rather than make an excuse, defend, or justify. It is the power to go the extra mile even when we are physically or mentally, emotionally exhausted. And I can tell you, I've been there. I don't know what's going on with the energy in our world today, but for the last week, I haven't been able to go to sleep until 5:30 in the morning. And here it is. I woke up this morning at 7:17 to prepare to be up at 8. To make sure that all the videos and everything are ready to go, and that I have all the equipment and all the lighting and everything up. And I'm sitting here like, how am I doing this? Well, it's through exhaustion. But it is through that want to give you something, that want to inspire you. Spiritualized strength is the power to stand in the spiritual truth we know, to practice spiritual principles even when it's difficult, and to act courageously with authentic spiritual motive. This strength supports the activity of the empowered and sustained direction. So not only from the physical strength, we talk about that all the time, the physical part of this, the human experience of it, but our spiritual strength, when we sit there and we learn these principles, just like the giving and receiving, the sowing and reaping. I've talked about this with people where I've said advanced things about the power of giving and how it could be detrimental as well as beneficial. And people look at me like, I just like to give, but there's so much more to it when you go into that spiritual strength, because we see it all the time where people post is like, well, I give, but I expect more from you, because, well, then you're no longer giving, you're having a negotiation because you gave with the intent of receiving back from that person. And as we go through unity, we know that when we give with a loving intention, and we don't know how it comes back to us, but it always does. And that's where that law comes into effect. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, says in his moral letter, it is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult. And I say this all the time to you. It's about moving through and doing what you need to do to be the best you can be. Don't get me wrong. I know what self-care is. I know there are times where I just need to lay down. Last night, I was working on getting our slides together, getting everything ready for today as far as the pre-preparations. And, at one point, again, going back to the 5:30 a.m. nighttime for me, I said I need to lay down. And I turned on the show. That's when I found out what Discovery Plus had. I was like, oh, I started watching shows and just relaxing a bit. And I just laid in the dark while I'm watching and just allowed my body to relax. But guess what? I had to get back up to get this work done, and I had other work that was given to me. We need to continue to work to be the best we can be. Reverend Diane wrote an article a long time ago in one of our newsletters about blaming others, and we talked about that here, where strength helps us get past that need to blame others. And it is an easy thing, because when we don't want to let go of that need to be right. I used to have a saying when I talked to people, and even if I knew that in that particular situation I had the right answer, not that I was right, but I may have the right answer, I always say, I could be wrong, but here's what I see. Here's my perspective on it. I may quote somebody. Either way, I'm not worried about being right. I'm worried about informing right. or at least giving you that spiritual clue to move forward. You know, Lee always talks about Job, and I always love the story of him fighting for his blessing, because, you know, we hear the word fight and we always take on the negative connotation of it. We're fighting against something. And we forget that there are times we need to fight for something. And we heard in the article earlier, strength is not to be forced. It is to be developed easily, not with tension and strain, but relaxed and trusting attitude. So we use strength to move through that, even when we need to fight for something. You know, metaphysically, I look at the story of Job as the messenger being that thought that we're fighting against because we need to be right, or that we need something. And he fought for his blessing, because I know that on the other side of this challenge, I know that when I get through these classes, I know that when I get that LNO, when I do that, you know, my reevaluations, that I get to be a minister. But I also know that, as Reverend Sandra Campbell always tells me, that you are ordained by the God within you, so no one can tell you whether you are a minister or not. But in my mind, it needs that validation to say, hey, you're a minister. And when I get through that, I know I can do so much more. And strength brought me through that. How many things in your life right now can you improve by what you do? How many things in your life right now are you holding back because your faith says it's out there, but your strength says, no, this is too much. I'm just going to sit back and grab a remote. I'm going to sit back and utilize any of the things out there that will help me hide from the problem I need to work. But at the end of the day, that problem is still there. So I'm calling you out to join me on this travel of faith, on this travel and this journey of strength. I'm calling you out to join me. Whatever it is, the best you there is. Whatever it is you need to do, whether it is a business that you need to step up and get better, whether it is a practice that you need to keep doing. When does it become non-negotiable? When you're ready to move through faith and strength to get there. When you're able to say that through the Christ consciousness, I can see that divine spark, that divine calling that I have to do, and know that I'm not hiding behind it. I am utilizing this tool to get me to that next level, to get me to understanding, to get me to all the other powers, so that I can bring that Christ consciousness up. Where are you today? What in your life can benefit from practicing faith and strength right now? Let's go ahead and go to our homework for this week and our views. So let me just switch over to our slides here. And so what do we reflect on strength? So what in your life do you want spiritual strength for? I was just on a little tangent there with it. What is the most important conversation you need to stop having with yourself? I can tell you I do that all the time. I'm on so many journeys right now because all these different paths in my life are coming together into one. There are decisions I need to make in the next 6 months. There are things I need to do right now. And conversations sometimes in my head are not pretty, and I have to continue to remind myself to move through it. What is the most important, maybe the most difficult conversation that you need to have with another person in your life perhaps you've been putting off? And I talked about this earlier. There are conversations I need to know on how the status of something is going. What is the mission and vision right now as it stands in many parts of my life? You know, it's like the song says, should I stay or should I go? Is another decision I need to make. And we all have these decisions within ourselves. But that decision may be needed to be supported by someone you need to speak to. Maybe it's your boss. Maybe it's someone in the clergy. Maybe it's somebody in your life right now. If you're attending college, maybe it's a professor you need to sit down with, or an advisor. You know, if you're taking any other kind of schooling, maybe it's your own family member. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's someone that you need to have that conversation with. Maybe that conversation you need to have is with yourself. Pull up a mirror and have that conversation with yourself. You know, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. So our practice for this week, is there a conversation you need to have that you've been putting off? And so pray for strength to speak your truth in love. I shared that with you. I have no problem being vulnerable with you. I've been having problems with myself where I've been working on speaking my truth. I'm working on my solar plexus chakra for confidence, my throat chakra for truth. And I know it's a little bit off of what we're talking about, but to me, these are practices I do through Reiki to help me obtain what I need to do. Second, wear light green, a scarf, jewelry, article of clothing as an affirmation that God within is strengthening you to do what God is calling you to do. What matters most, what makes your heart happy. This is what I talked about earlier. Is there a business you're trying to start? Or maybe you're in a business right now that may be affected by COVID-19. And it's driving you crazy because you're holding on with all dear life, you know, and it doesn't seem to be working. But strength, something inside of you, that faith is calling you to say, we're okay, we're going to do this. We're going to keep going. Maybe it's your schoolwork. Maybe you're in college and things are just going a little bit off track. Don't give up. Keep moving in faith and strength. Maybe it's an exercise program. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. I'm trying to be on a clean diet and I fall off, get up, fall off, get up. And I realized I had to do it for me. That was a conversation I had to have with myself. Why did I want to do it? Why am I still in this shape? These are things that I needed to do. So these are the things that I'm using faith and strength to move myself through, and tapping into a few other powers to help me move through this. And finally, create an affirmation that energizes you. You might begin it with God in me now strengthens me too. You know, I love the God in me statement. It reminds me of Reverend Ike. And you know him as the evangelist who used to get up and do the prosperity, and he was Center of Spiritual Living, if I'm correct. And he moved a lot of people, especially in the African American community, even though his you know, his congregation, if you ever watch any of his talks, are mixed. But his goal was to go out there and help his people, as he says, learn to be prosperous and to be working through it. So with that, as I said, power of strength pairs well with faith. Practice both, but the word here is practice. Get out there, do it. Again, I'll add both the focus as well as the practice for this week into our videos once they publish on our sites. And I want you to be very mindful that you have the ability to be the best you can be for me, because I need you in my life. I need you to help me reach that Christ consciousness in me. And I want to be the best me I can be for you, to help you attain that Christ consciousness within you, to be the best you can be. And together, we can go out and change a generation by being the best we for those outside of here. I love each and every one of you as always, and I implore you to practice, practice, practice. Get out there, do the thing. Even if it is 5 minutes a day, do the thing. It works if it work it. I'll see you on the other side.
When a step seems too hard to take, every turn feels like a big mistake. It makes you wanna close your eyes and hide. Trust yourself, even yourself out in the open. Step into the spotlight and shine. Be the change, fall like a domino, a chain reaction that sets the world aglow. Be amazed at how it falls in line. Open up, spread your wings and rise above the clouds in your mind that blind you to who you really are. Don't waste your time. No one else can live your life. Open up to what you've known all the time. Round and round and round we go, we don't fall now. More than flesh and bone, heart and soul, light and miracle. You are round and round and round, more than you Open up, spread your wings and rise above the clouds in your mind that blind you to who you really are. Don't waste your time. No one else can live your life. So open up to what you've known all the time. You've known all the time. You've known all the time. You are more than you are. You are more than you are. You are more than you are.
As always, I'm humbled and grateful to be here to speak to you, to teach you. And again, this is practical Christianity, practical New Thought. It's about practicing. You know, I gave you some homework and I gave you some things to think about. Again, when the videos are published, I will go ahead and copy and paste them into the video. And like always, if you happen to go to Facebook and you want to hear the music and the music gets silenced, again, they use algorithms which are automatic. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Always go to our YouTube page. We'll have the full service there. So this is a time of the service where we can celebrate that giving and receiving. So as always, I ask you to go ahead and just imagine, just bring that power of imagination into play here as we visualize ourselves, you know, whether we're typing it into a computer as we're giving, or we're writing a check out to the church, or we're holding our phone or whatever it is in our hand, how we donated. We invoke that feeling of joy. You know, Reverend Diane always reminded me that on your tithing game has to come from a point of joy. So let's bring that feeling of joy as we're openly giving. And as we do that, let us bless it by saying, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. And we see that donation going out to us, and we as Unity circulate that into our community, into our services, as we continue to build the ministry for others to join us on this journey to finding the best us we can be, to becoming that Christ consciousness and tapping into it to be the best Christ we can be, not only for ourselves, but for those that we encounter in this life. Let us go ahead and bless our children as always, and we hold our hands up in symbol of energy going out as we say, we bless you, we love you, We see that divine spark within each of you as you go out and do great things. And finally, for ourselves, the prayer of protection. And today I just felt moved to do the longer version or the fuller version of the prayer of protection. We know the normal stanzas. This was the prayer of protection written by James Dillard Freeman. And it is: the light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. The mind of God guides you. The life of God flows through you. The law of God directs you. The peace of God abides within you. The joy of God uplifts you. The strength of God renews you. The beauty of God inspires you. And wherever you are, God is, and all is well. We affirm that with an amen. And as always, if you heard something here today that anybody can use, go ahead and like it, share it, send it out, let other people hear the message that here at Unity we have a better way to help find your journey and find your path in this life. So, if, as always, as I say, if no one else has told you, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. I bid you namaste and a heartfelt gratitude for your time here with me today.